Okay, let's do this. First things first. Federation Force and Metroid Prime Pinball are left off because I haven't played them. Not really because they're bad. They'd both probably be. I don't know. Metroid Prime Pinball would probably be pretty cool, but I never played either of them, so they're just not on here. Because where would I rank them? I haven't played them. But every other one I've beaten, I think. I haven't beaten the original Metroid 2. But every other one, yeah. Anyway, let's do this. Before I'm going to do it in chronological order of release. So, Metroid 1, I never beat Metroid 1 either. I like Metroid 1. Metroid 1 is pretty fun. But it's not like Zelda 1 where I'm like, oh, but I bet if I sat and played this game, like with an NES controller in my hand, I probably would really enjoy it. No, I do own this game, and I have played it with an NES controller, and I was just like, this game kind of blows. It's not that bad. It feels weird. Like, it does. Oh, you know what? By the way, I'm gonna do this too. I did this with the Zelda one, but I want it to be. I can't see myself thinking, oh yeah, this game deserves a D. Even like other M, I don't think it's that bad. Anyway. Yeah, Metroid 1 is, I don't know, man. I think it's, I think it's a C. I don't think it holds up. I don't know. It's not like Metroid. Well, I don't know though, but I just can't. I feel like it's kind of disingenuous to rank it anything higher because I've barely touched it. Like, I just can't get into it at all. I don't enjoy it. But when I think about it, I don't think like, oh, that game sucks. I just think, I don't know, not for me. I just don't enjoy it that much. I'm gonna put it in C. Yeah. Metroid 2. I actually like Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. I think it's fun. I really like the music. I think it's more satisfying to control. I think the world design fits the Game Boy. It's easy. It's pretty easy to like navigate because it really is split into like areas, pretty much. That said, you know, people talk shit about this game, and I'm not gonna pull a Zelda 2 where I think it's like, oh, this game is so fucking sick. I don't think it's that bad. I do think it's better than the first game, but I think that one also I put in C. I definitely think Metroid got better with time, and then worse, and then it's pretty good now, but we'll get to that. Yeah. I like Metroid 2, just like I like Metroid. Like I can't be like, oh, Metroid sucks. When I was thinking about making this, I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to rank the first two Metroid games. Like those are boring. I haven't really played them. But now we get into the good shit. Super Metroid. Okay. Now I mentioned this in the Zelda tier list I did. I, for a long time, thought Super Metroid was probably the worst 2D Metroid game after the first two. I preferred Zero Mission to Metroid Fusion, and even AM2R for a time. I thought, oh, Super Metroid's okay. I don't get the extreme reverence for it. I think it's kind of weird to control. It feels awkward. I think it's good. It's really good, but the games after it have improved on it, I think. They've just been more fun and satisfying to play. And as I'm saying this, I'm describing how I used to feel, and even now, I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, I feel bad for saying that, because that is so fucking wrong, I can't believe it. I don't know what happened. It's like a fucking switch flicked. The light bulb in my head went off. I played it on an SNES. I didn't touch the controls. I just used default controls. I played it in my room on a fucking CRT, and I legitimately might put that game in my top. It's my top 10, like out of any game. It's unbelievable. It's completely night and day how I used to feel versus how I feel now. This game is transcendent. It might be the best on the list. I might not put anything above it, and it's weird to say that because for the longest time I didn't used to feel that way. Now I do. Now I fucking do. The atmosphere, you can cut through it with a fucking butter knife. Like, it just emanates from the TV. I feel like no game on the SNES makes you feel anything like Super Metroid does. Like, I feel like, oh, Mario World is fun. So Link to the Past is pretty fun, you know. And I haven't played Final Fantasy 6 or 4, so I'm sure those games might stake a claim, but Super Metroid is so fucking good. It's so hard to describe. There's no real need for me to get into it because it's one of those games, you know. It's like Ocarina of Time. It's like Half-Life 2. Like, just one of those games. The games that you're like, oh, everyone likes this game. But this game it's even above Ocarina of Time. It's above Half-Life 2 because I've heard people be like, oh yeah, I like Ocarina of Time, or I like Half-Life 2, but I think for the most part, I like other games more. Like, those games are okay. You hear people say that. I love both those games. I love Half-Life 2. Super Metroid is not like that. Excuse me. Super Metroid is maybe the pinnacle of the entire genre. It's so weird to say because that game came out in what, like 94? 93? I'm looking. You can kind of see it. I think in 94. It's unbelievable, dude, how good that game is and how they still haven't topped it with a 2D Metroid game. They still haven't. And I'm not sure if I'll put a 3D game ahead of it. I'm kind of thinking we'll get there. When we get there, we'll get there. And we're going to get there pretty quick because they're coming up. But I haven't really been saying why Super Metroid's good. I've just been saying it's good. I think the movement is severely underrated. No, that's not true because it's one of the. Is it the highest speedrun game? Is it the most popular speed game? I'm not sure. I know Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64, those are popular. But I think Metroid's always been like pretty much like the speed game, right? And when I think about speedrunning, I think about Super Metroid and all that. The movement in Super Metroid it's so crisp. Well, you know what? Honestly, I can't say crisp. I should say deep. It feels like you have to get good at just moving in Super Metroid. Most Metroidvania games, including the ones in the future of the series, you don't really have to get like that. Like, there's mechanics you can improve on, like the wall jump. That's in all the 2D Metroid games, but you don't really have to get like, that's not that hard. You get good at that pretty quick. It's not like Transform Ice wall jump. You ever played Transform Ice? But anyway, I genuinely don't think it's topped. It might stay at the top. This might be a boring list, but yeah. Oh yeah, like I was saying, I like drifted off. I forgot what I was talking about. Like I said, it doesn't feel crisp because I would say Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission and AM2R, those feel more like crisp, more responsive almost. But the fluidity, the weight of the movement in Super Metroid just feels so nice, dude. It's so nice, dude. It's like a banana milkshake. Like, it just feels nice going down. I don't know what to say. Something about it, like the numbers were so fine-tuned, man. You could tell they spent like 15 years just making sure every little tiny input was as satisfying as possible. It's unbelievable. All this secret weirdo shit, like the Crystal Flash and all like the X Factor shit, no one even knows about. Who gives a fuck about those? But they're in there, and that's cool. That's cool as hell. Oh, it's just strange that they haven't topped it. They haven't even tried. They haven't made like a console 2D Metroid game in forever. The handheld ones just can't hold a candle, and those are great games. It's weird saying that Zero Mission, Fusion, AM2R, those games can't hold a candle to another game. Those games are great. Oh, but then the other game we're comparing them to is Super fucking Metroid. It lives up to the hype. It absolutely does. And take it from me, like I've said a million times already, I didn't used to feel that way. Not until like a few months ago. I don't have any nostalgic connection to this game, not even a little bit. But it's still maybe my favorite. We'll see. It'll at worst be second place. I know that much. I think, yeah, I could go on and on. Let's go to Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion is good. I like Metroid Fusion. I think that's a solid A tier. It's you know, is that an S tier? I might put that in S. I don't know. That I'm gonna keep that in A for now, but that's subject to change. I could definitely have no attachment to that ranking. I think Metroid Fusion is a fucking phenomenal game. I love SAX. I think the story is pretty cool. I think that you get to hear Samus's thoughts. I just think that's cool because she's always had that. In Super Metroid, you like read her thoughts in the start. And does she have anything at the end? No, I don't think so. Like, she's never really been a silent protagonist. She talks. So it's cool to have that throughout the game. It's hard to buy into the Adam plotline now, but I remember playing it as a kid. I was like, oh, that's cool. I hope I get to meet Adam someday. And we did. The thing about Metroid Fusion is it just I think I'm gonna put that in S. I can't justify not, because I think about, like, I really enjoy the different sectors. I understand this game is linear. It's not really that, like, you can't sequence break or anything. They got rid of all that. They simplified the movements to the nth degree. Like, you can't even wall jump up the same wall. I get that there's a ton of things about it that I'm like, man, I just wish it wasn't like this. But at the same time, there's so much new and unique to the series in it. Stuff that hasn't been recreated, really. Kind of. SAX is kind of similar to Dark Samus, but they just fulfill completely different roles. I never feel like Dark Samus is, like, scary, really. There's points in Metroid Prime 2 when she's pretty scary, but I don't know. SAX is what carries the game. I would say if you dropped SAX, it would probably be a pretty solid A and maybe even a B tier, but there's just the looming threat of SAX and all that entails, like the encounters with SAX. She really does carry that game, and I would love to see another Metroid game with that idea. Like, it'd be really cool if Prime 4 had something similar. I just like that idea. I like the idea, because the whole thing about Metroid is like, oh, it's lonely. You're alone on these planets, discovering everything, fighting monsters and stuff. And I just think throwing a wrench into that, having someone else there, that's not helpful, that does not want you alive, that's as intelligent, well, maybe not as intelligent as you are, but, like, isn't just like a monster, and literally, if you get caught, will fucking destroy you, like a Mr. X. If Resident Evil, by the way, Resident Evil 2 is, that's fucking in the pipeline. Holy shit, that's a great idea. Remake, RE2 Remake, that's an S tier. Just spoiling, that might be the best one, but anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I love Metroid Fusion though. There's things about it that I'm like, man, no, yeah, see, I'm putting it back in A. I don't know. I just can't, like, I wish that you could sequence break. I wish that it had more satisfying movement. I wish that, I don't know. I wish. It's still great. But it's sad. Because it's not really great like the game that came before. Speaking of really great, not speaking of really great, because Metroid Prime probably, I gotta be honest, I'm not the hugest Metroid Prime 1 fan. I like Metroid Prime 1. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong. It's an S for a reason, and I'm sticking with that. I'm not putting that any lower. But it just doesn't hit me like Super Metroid does. There is another game on this list that does, and we'll get to that, but Metroid Prime is like the Ocarina of Time of Metroid, obviously. It's even the 5th game in the series, just like Ocarina of Time. The first 3D game. There's a lot of comparisons to be made. And much like Ocarina of Time, it kind of is just Super Metroid in 3D, kind of like they didn't really. There's nothing really new in terms of items. The boost ball is, but other than that, like, I'm trying to think like what else. They just kind of took Super Metroid's items. I don't know what to say. I'm having a hard time gathering my thoughts about Metroid Prime. Because I don't want to undersell it. I think the game is amazing. But there's just a little part of me that's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just not like that keen on it like everyone else is. And I have a huge connection to it. It's one of the first games I ever remember playing. Ever. Like, bar none. That and like backyard football for the PC and fucking Wind Waker and those kind of games. But I can't bring myself to put it in SS. I'm trying to figure out why. I'm trying to dictate why that is. I can't really figure it out. I guess just because I don't really like the setting that much. I don't like the levels. The music, I like the music, but I don't think it's that great. I've never liked Metroid Prime's soundtrack that much. I think Metroid Prime 2... Okay, well, I'm trying to save Metroid Prime 2 for when we get to it, because I have a lot to say about that game, but... Metroid Prime is not a masterpiece. I don't think I can say. I think there's just... It just doesn't feel like a masterpiece. It just feels kind of weird and off. I don't like the artifact hunt. I don't think that's fun. There's just strange things about it. I think the impact crater could have been so much cooler than it was. So much cooler. I wish you actually got to go into it. Like, this transition. Like, why is it just a teleporter? Why do you just get teleported in? It doesn't feel like... I don't know. The Leviathan seeds feel awesome because you fly into them. And you, like, have a landing zone and you can, like, explore the... I don't know. I'm literally I'm fucking scrambling. Like, I'm thinking extremely quickly right now, just searching for, like, the words to use to describe Metroid Prime and why it's only an S, and why I think there's multiple Metroid games better than it. Because it's the darling duck of the fucking... It's the golden goose of the franchise. It really is. It's like Ocarina of Time, like I said. It's the one that, like, oh, Super Metroid and Metroid Prime. Those are the two best Metroid games, you know? When you think about, like, what's the best Metroid game? I feel like it's like a 50-50 split between Super and Prime. Although I wouldn't say one of those two. Maybe I would. Maybe I'd say Super, but the other one wouldn't be Prime 1. And we're going to get to that game. I wonder if you can figure out which one I'm talking about. I'm looking at it with my eyeballs, but you can't see which one. Anyway. I feel like I've said not a fucking word about Metroid Prime. This must be aggravating to listen to. There's just something missing. It has every component of a Metroid game that's great. But there's just something missing, and I can't put words to it. The music isn't that good. The areas are kind of boring and stock. I don't like the items. There's not really that many fun items. I don't like the beams. I think the beams are weird, and they take the Super Metroid's beams and make them not that fun to use, like, not as cool. There's just sections of the game that I don't enjoy playing. I don't like the pirate, like, getting the super missile and then getting the thermal visor and then just getting out. I don't like that part of the game. That's just not fun. I don't know. The phase on mines. I don't really like the phase on mines. It's like the one area in the game that's not just like, oh, ice, fire, grass, jungle, ruin. I guess ruin. Chozo Ruins is, well, it's like kind of deserty, but Chozo Ruins is cool. Chozo Ruins is the best area, I think. I love Chozo Ruins now that I'm thinking about it. That's the thing, like, that's the other side of the coin here. I'm just trying, I don't know why I'm trying so hard to convince everyone listening that, my massive audience, that, Metroid Prime is bad, because it's still an S, and it's still great, you know? It still has, like, You can see Samus's eyes when you shoot the wall with a charged shot. You know, you see the rain splashing on the visor. The morph ball is insanely fun to use. The fact that Retro Studios, this is like out of the blue. What the fuck? Who the fuck are Retro Studios? They're a bunch of white dudes in Texas, and they made this game. What the fuck? There were some real talented people on that squad. I love Metroid Prime. No, I don't. I really like Metroid Prime. I don't love it. I don't have the reverence for it in my head. I think it's a great jumping off point for a superior sequel. And we'll get to that sequel right after we get to Zero Mission. Zero Mission's dope. But again, I've never been a big... I don't know. It's no Super Metroid, you know? Not that any game really is, but... I mean, Zero Mission is good. It's really good. But it's not like... What the fuck? It's not like that good. I honestly might... It's not like Metroid Fusion, where I think about Metroid Fusion and I think, it's not like that satisfying to just move. The items are okay. The world, like, exploring is fun though. The atmosphere is really insanely cool. I really like SAS. Like, it has they're kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum. Zero Mission, I don't really like the world that much. It's not atmospheric in the slightest. It feels like really bare bones almost in terms of world design. But the movement and the items you get and everything, like how everything feels, is just really good. Like, it just feels really good to play. And that's why I think they deserve to share the same tier. Because Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission, coming just 2 years apart, they don't actually have the same assets. It's kind of cool that like they created new sprites for everything for Metroid Zero Mission. You wouldn't think they would do that. But they did, and I think I prefer how Zero Mission plays. I prefer how Metroid Fusion looks and sounds and feels, if that makes sense. And for that, you know what, now that I say that out loud, I honestly think Fusion's the better game. Just what I value in games, I think presentation matters a ton. And Zero Mission's presentation just doesn't hold a candle to Metroid Fusion's. I think if I were to just pick a game in the series to speedrun and just try and get really good at, I'd pick Zero Mission way before I'd pick Fusion. But if I were trying to pick a game that I want to just play on the bus ride to work, get sucked into the world, and just have a really fun and good time, I'd play Fusion in a heartbeat. Because Zero Mission just doesn't feel... It has heart, but I just don't... I feel that maybe it's an effect of being a remake of a fucking NES game. It just lacks the heart. I don't know. It does have heart, but it just lacks like what makes Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion and Metroid Prime even so great. I'm honestly almost convinced myself to put it in B tier. I've just never been it. I'm gonna do it, man. I've never been a Zero Mission fan. Now that I think about it, I've never placed it in the same, like, I know I don't revere it like I revere Metroid Fusion. Like, I think about Metroid Fusion, oh, I love Metroid Fusion, dude. Metroid Zero Mission, I can't say the same. But it's still fun. It's still very fun. Very, very fun. Okay. Now. This game is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. I almost want to skip it. I almost want to save it for last. I don't know. There's a small part of me that thinks this is absolutely wrong, what I'm about to do. There's a part of me that's thinking it's not. It doesn't deserve where I'm gonna put it. But 90%, 95% of me is screaming, it's gotta be at the top. It's gotta be number one. Metroid Prime 2 is probably... I almost just said it's my favorite game. Just bar none. I wouldn't go that far. But it might be top 2. It might be top 1, depending on the day you ask me, or even the fucking second you ask me. I might change my mind, but fuck this game. But Metroid Prime 2 is... Give me a second here. I'm trying to, like... Because it's not... Metroid Prime 2 is not the best Metroid game. Metroid Prime 2 is just Metroid Prime 1, but not as good. It's just... It looks exact. It's the same exact engine, the same exact controls. What the... You gotta use fucking ammo for your beams. What the fuck? Well, the bosses are all just normal enemies, but, like, bigger. That's lame. The Dark World? Ugh, the Dark World is stupid. You drain health. That's boring. Now, I get the complaints against this game. And if I were to talk to someone who wasn't entirely familiar with the Metroid franchise and was asking which one should they start with, it might be, honest to God, the last one I suggested. I might even say Other M first. I might be like, Other M, just play Other M first, because then that way you won't like be let down by it. I might say Metroid 1 first. Of course, I mean the first game. You play the first game first, you know? Really understand what the series is. I don't know what it is about Metroid Prime 2. It's pretty much the inverse of Metroid Prime 1. I didn't know why Metroid Prime 1 just kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. It's a great game, and I understand that mechanically, and the amount of times I've played through it and beaten it, I should love every second of that game. And I do love the majority of the seconds of that game, but there's just parts I don't like. And I can't exactly quantify that. I can't exactly put it into words like I can with other games. Why I don't think it's in the top echelon of the series. With Metroid Prime 2, it's the exact opposite. I can't tell you exactly why I think it's better than Metroid Prime. I don't even think it's just better than Metroid Prime. I think it blows Metroid Prime out of the water. When I compare the two games in my head, just like when I hear the name Metroid Prime, I go like, oh, that game's good. And then I hear Metroid Prime 2, and I'm like, there's just like a warm feeling in my stomach. It's like when the teacher used to read you a story in school. It's the same feeling as that. Just like this, a smile plays across my lips. You know what I'm saying? Something about Metroid Prime 2 is just so good. Like it was made for me. Like I was meant to buy Metroid Prime 2 as like an 11-year-old kid. With a shitty beat up box that looks, I still have to this day, it looks like garbage. The fucking plastic around the edge is all like busted up. My friend fucking texted me and was like, I think he called me. I don't know, he Steam messaged me or something. And was like, hey, I have Metroid Prime 2. And I was like, oh yeah, because I, huge Metroid Prime 1 fan as a kid. I had to get the sequel. And I did. It's just... It means so much more to me. Somehow. Somehow it does. I didn't play Metroid Prime 2 until years after the first time I played Metroid Prime 1. I watched my mom play Metroid Prime 1 and fight Flagra when I was 4, before I went to school at all, or maybe preschool. Shouldn't that one be my favorite? The one I have the connection to, nostalgic. Shouldn't that be the one I look at with rose-colored glasses? It's not. It's Metroid Prime 2. That's the one I can't see any flaws with. That's the one I think of as perfect. That's the one that whenever someone complains about it, I think, oh, but that's how it's supposed to be. That's how the game was meant to be. Of course the Dark World is annoying. It's supposed to be scary. You're not supposed to want to be there. It's supposed to be frightening. It's supposed to be atmospheric and make you wish more than anything, that you can get the fuck back into the light world. Because when you get the light suit and it doesn't hurt anymore, and you fuck everything up with the Annihilator, it makes it so cathartic and satisfying. When you get to go around the dark world, fucking everything, just destroying fools without need of those stupid ass light beacons anymore. Collecting all the Sky Temple keys, it's so cathartic, it's so satisfying, man. I think maybe that's why I think the Sky Temple key hunt is vastly superior, vastly, to the artifact hunt. Because the artifact hunt, the last item you get in the game is the Phazon suit and the Phazon beam. That doesn't do shit for you. It looks cool, but all you can do now is go through Phazon, which is similar, I suppose, but it's not like you're constantly dealing with Phazon the entire game. There's never like Phazon halls that you have to run through. Otherwise, like, you have to take damage in. You never have to take damage from Phazon. They never force you. You do have to take damage from the Dark World. And so when you don't anymore, when you get the light suit and you see what it does and you're like, wait, what? And then you get sent and you get to use it? And the Annihilator beam? The fucking Annihilator beam? Have you ever hit A with the Annihilator? Have you ever flicked down on the C-stick and then hit the big green A button in Metroid Prime 2? Because if you haven't, I can't describe the feeling. It burns through ammo. It's loud. It's extravagant. It homes in, removing all semblance of challenge the combat might have had. But goddamn, it is maybe the most satisfying weapon to shoot in any game I've ever played. I don't know how they did it. Just the way it looks. The fucking arm cannon looks so fucking sick, dude. The name, the Annihilator beam. What the fuck? Yeah, would you rather shoot the wave beam, the plasma beam, the ice beam, or the fucking Annihilator beam? You tell me, man. I know what I'd pick. I don't know what else to say. I do know what else to say. I've got tons more, man. I'm going to talk about this game for 5 minutes. Oh, whoops. I said minutes. I meant hours. Aegon Waste. Okay. A slow start, I'll say. Even my dumbass, who's in love with everything about this game, I have to admit, the Aegon Waste kind of stinks a little bit. You know, I don't mind it, but I don't think of Aegon Wastes when I think about Metroid Prime 2. I'm not like, oh man, I can't wait to explore the fucking wastes, baby. No, not at all. It's not that bad. But it's also probably, it might be worse. It might be worse than any area in Metroid Prime 1. I'm trying to think. No, I know. I like it more than Phazon Mines. But it's just the start, you know. It's the beginning. It eases you in. If it blew its load with Sanctuary Fortress first and then had some weird, kind of boring shit later on, then this game wouldn't be as high. Not even, it might be the top still, but I wouldn't be gushing about it quite as hard as I am. And then you go to Torvus Bog. Now, okay. Torvus Bog is just like a swamp. It is. That's what it is. When I think about, you know, Metroid Prime 1 has a very similar looking and feeling area. But does it? Is Tallon Overworld even close to as good as Torvus Bog? Because I would argue it isn't. You want to talk about soundtrack. You want to say, I was like, Metroid Prime soundtrack is just okay. Listen to Torvus Bog. I think that might be alone what elevates it. Because they take the same exact area pretty much. It's just Tallon Overworld. And then they put a 10 times better song, and all of a sudden I love it. I love it. I love Torvus Bog's song. Oh my god. Hopefully it's playing in the background if I don't get too lazy here. Man, there I go yawning again. Torvus Bog boggles the mind. No, but I need to fucking get a hold of myself right now. I'm speaking nonsense right now. This is strange. Something strange has come over me. The spell of Metroid Prime 2 cast upon me it causes me to say and do strange things I would never do otherwise. Look, I love Metal Gear Solid 3. I love Persona 3. I love Majora's Mask, man. I love Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. Those are games I've all said at one point that those are my favorite games. But when I think about Metroid Prime 2, the feeling I feel doesn't happen when I think about those other games. Those other games, I think, oh man, well, Metal Gear Solid 3 is really good, but I don't know. I mean, there's just parts of it that aren't that fun, and all the boss fights are kind of lame except for the end, and Persona 3, I mean, okay, I like Persona 3, I love Persona 3, but, you know, I mean, you can't control your party members, and that's annoying, and you gotta grind a lot, and some of the music is just kind of weird and annoying. Like, I love Persona 3, but there's just little things about it I'm like, I don't like it that much. Majora's Mask, oh god, I don't want to collect those fucking eggs. God, I hate that shit, you know? Thousand Year Door. Well, Thousand Year Door is similar to Metroid Prime 2. What I have just discovered right now is that Metroid Prime 2 is probably my favorite game ever. Metroid Prime 2 is my favorite game ever made. It just is. They took Metroid Prime 1 and they made it better. They made it good. They made it great. They took a good game and made it great. Remember Metroid Prime 1 when you have to go all the way to Phendrana Drifts to get the wave beam, and then all the way back to Tallon Overworld. Oh no, wait. I got that backwards. You go all the way to Phendrana Drifts to get the boost ball, and then all the way to Tallon Overworld to get the space jump, and then all the way back to Phendrana Drifts to get the wave beam. It's infamous at this point. I think it's the one point, if you don't like Metroid Prime, you point to that and say, this is why. Metroid Prime 2 makes you do something similar. The biggest example, the most egregious example, if you think this is egregious, that I can think of, is getting the power bombs from Torvus Bog. Dark Torvus Bog, I should say. There's also the instance when you have to leave Torvus Bog to go back to the temple ground to get the seeker missiles. Here's the difference, though. The part in Metroid Prime sucks. It's right at the beginning, and I haven't played Metroid Prime legit. I just get the space jump immediately. The last time I played Metroid Prime and didn't do that, I can't even remember. It's been like half a decade since I didn't just do that sequence break and get the space jump. But that part sucks. It's not fun. It just takes too long. I don't want to go back all the way through all that shit. Back to the fucking literal first room on the planet of Tallon 4. And then go all the way back to where it just was. That's just not... It's kind of cool, but you don't have enough stuff to justify it. You can't get that many items now with the equipment that you've gathered. You don't have that much stuff more than the last time you were there. I feel like you don't leave Tallon Overworld for that long to justify having to go back. That's the thing about backtracking. I think it's fun if you've gained a lot of abilities so you can get the optional pickups. That's why I think the white suit is so cool and why I think the Sky Temple Key Hunt is so good, because you have that power, that ability that you didn't have before that allows you to get so much. But as I was saying, when you return to Dark Torvus Bog from Sanctuary Fortress to get the power bombs, after you get the spider ball, what is there in that room after you get the power bombs? What power bomb door do you unblock? I'll tell you which one. The one that fucking has an elevator that leads right back to Sanctuary Fortress. To a new room that you can explore. It's unbelievable how quickly, simply, effectively they fixed that problem with Metroid Prime. They fixed backtracking being boring. They fixed it completely. People, I don't know why that's not a bigger deal is made out of that. The Torvus Bog thing, the Seeker Missile thing, that's one step from the entrance of Torvus Bog. You don't have to go anywhere. It's not like you're going back to the first room in the fucking game and then coming all the way, sorry, I keep bumping my desk, and then going all the way back to like deep into the game. Almost as far as you can possibly fucking get from the first room in the game. You go from Torvus Bog to like the room outside Torvus Bog, back into Torvus Bog, and that's it. And I haven't even talked about the magnum opus of Prime 2. The thing that sets it apart from every other game ever made, in my opinion. The one area that outshines every other Metroid area by far. Nothing comes close. In terms of appearance, the atmosphere, how it feels, the lore, the enemy design, the boss at the end, everything. The music is cool, everything. There's a strong, like, I almost have vertigo right now thinking about it, man. If you don't step into Sanctuary Fortress for the first time and instantly fall in love with Metroid Prime 2, then you weren't me. That's all I know. That's the only thing I can confirm. You are not Harper. You are not me. Because that's what happened to me. That's what's happening right now. I'm falling in love with it all over again. Just thinking about going back in there. Thinking about when Dark Samus destroys the bridge. Thinking about the Spider Guardian fight. An insanely creative and cool boss fight. That's hard, challenging, but fair and fun. I'm thinking about Quadraxis, another hard, challenging, and fun fight. Interesting, makes great use of the Echo Visor. A really interesting and cool visor, by the way. I'm thinking about when Dark Samus fucking ganks those Dark Pirates. Or are they Dark? I don't fucking know. She just fucking destroys those little pieces of shit. And you're still in control. You're not in a fucking cutscene. Do you think Metroid Prime 3 ever does that? Hell no. Metroid Prime 3 is Metroid Prime 2 if Metroid Prime 2 sucked. But I like Metroid Prime 3. But whatever. Everything about Sanctuary Fortress, it's like Torvus Bog was good enough. I didn't even talk about Lower Torvus Bog, which probably has maybe one of my favorite video game songs. If you ever need to go to bed and you want a video game song to listen to, search up Lower Torvus Bog OST, and you'll fall asleep 10 seconds after you hit play. Sure, it's a remix of a Super Metroid song, which, by the way, guess what? That's the other game in SS, probably the only other game in SS. What was I talking about? I don't fucking know, man. I literally... Something has come over me in my need to defend my opinion of Metroid Prime 2. I understand that it's not the most popular Metroid game. It's not the most popular Metroid Prime game. Not even close. Everyone knows Metroid Prime. Everyone knows every nook and cranny of that world of Tallon 4. And I do too. But I also know every nook and cranny of Aether. And I honestly prefer Aether. I think it's superior in every way. Every single way. The designs of the suits, the gravity suit looks silly and dumb in Metroid Prime. It just looks kind of dumb. There is not one stupid fucking suit in Metroid Prime 2. There's not one power-up, one thing that makes Metroid Prime 2, makes Samus in Metroid Prime 2 look stupid. The fucking gravity boost? God, that shit looks cool. I fucking love that, dude. Having a triple jump underwater, clearing up the visor, just like the gravity suit did. But unlike the gravity suit, it doesn't just stop you from being inhibited underwater. It stops you from being inhibited underwater, and then also gives you the boost, the triple jump underwater. It goes beyond the gravity suit and doesn't make you look dumb. And people dare say Metroid Prime is the better game, and not just a few people, everyone. When it's been outclassed. For years, it's been outclassed by its very sequel, and still Metroid Prime gets all the glory. And I'm sick of it. I will die on this hill. Much like Zelda 2. I will die on this hill, but I am far more passionate about this one. Metroid Prime 2 is the best game, I think, ever made. I think it was made for me to enjoy. I love exploring the world of Aether. It's colored my view on video games so much, I'm now realizing. What I value in games, the music I like, graphical style I enjoy. And you know what? The multiplayer ain't half bad either, man. I'm just saying. Nah, but I think I've gushed enough about Metroid Prime 2. Let's move on to Metroid Prime 3, which is, I mean, I feel like I've just come, honestly. I'm so spent right now. It's gonna be hard to get through these last 4, but Metroid Prime 3 is pretty good. I'd put it in A, or maybe even B. No, I'd put it in A. I like Metroid Prime 3. You know, I mean, I can't knock it. It's a good game, but it just hot off the heels of 2, it doesn't feel the same. I haven't beaten it in a million years. The ship is useless. The different planets I don't really like that much. I like Elysia a ton. That's a really cool area, but everywhere else just feels kind of lame. The Pirate Homeworld is also cool, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. No, there are cool locations. Yeah, you know what? Every location in Metroid Prime 3 is cool as fuck, now that I'm thinking about it. You know what I'm gonna fucking do? This is what I'm gonna fucking do. Okay, I'm prepared to piss... Oops, sorry. I'm prepared to piss everyone the fuck off. Oh yeah, by the way, those aren't there coming out playing. I already fucking said that, I'm an idiot. I'm gonna do that, dude. I'm honestly gonna fucking do that. I think Prime 3 is better than Prime 1. I love the areas in Prime 3. Bryo's cool as fuck. The song from Bryyo, I love Torvus from Prime 2. I might give the best song in the franchise to Prime 3's Bryyo theme. I just might do it. I just might. It's close. Low Torvus, I should say. And then Torvus Upper is like second best. That's the thing about Torvus, man. I'm back on Metroid Prime 2. Metroid Prime 2, Torvus. The upper region, incredible, beautiful original song that I love and I listened to it fucking today. I'm not even kidding. I was on my break at work and I was listening to fucking Torvus while I read the second Game of Thrones book. And then you go underneath and you get the other greatest song of all time. God, dude. I gotta stop. I gotta move on. There's 4 more games to talk about. I don't even know how long this is. Metroid Prime 3 is really good. Elysia is amazing. I love that location. The music's awesome. I love how Gore talks to you when he's up on the fucking monitors. You blast the shit out of those screens. Fuck you, Gore. You ruined my ship. But I don't like that the planets are divided. I wish that they weren't. I don't like how the areas don't feel interconnected. I think that's too important to how Metroid is. Like the point of Metroid. Even though like Metroid Fusion is the same way, every area is like, and Metroid Prime as well. It's just places that have no relation. It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever how those places can coexist so close to each other. But I know that in game, I don't have to fly to an entirely different planet in a fucking different solar system. You know? It's on the same planet. Even if it doesn't make any fucking sense. Just something about that makes it feel good. So, even though... Well, I should say, despite that the areas feel disjointed, and I don't like that, they're still better. They're still more fun and interesting than anything in Metroid Prime 1. I think it might have the best collection of areas in the entire game, or in the entire trilogy, honestly. As much as I just talked, no, nothing's better than Metroid Prime 2. Fuck you, Prime 3. I just thought about Sanctuary Fortress again. I just thought about having to hit LRA or some shit to reboot from a res bit. What the fuck, dude? What game makes you fucking do that? Oh, it's so good, dude. But we're talking about 3 now. I resolve to not mention Metroid Prime 2 ever again in the rest of this video, at least. Ever, as long as I live, I will not let the word echoes escape my mouth. But anyway, like I said, I'm so fucking spent, dude. I used all my energy on Metroid Prime 2. I already mentioned it again. I couldn't resist. But as I was saying, Elysia is amazing. The Pirate Homeworld is really cool. I like how the hazard shield looks. I like the PED suit. Hyper mode is fun. It ruins the game. It's not hard because of hyper mode, even on the highest difficulty, but it's still cool. I think the gratuitous motion controls They're not that bad. They're pretty fun, actually, honestly. I like them. I think the ship, inside of the ship, that's fun. The secret messages, those are cool. I think Bryo's fun. I think Phase, the final planet, is really cool and engaging and interesting. But the soundtrack isn't as good as Metroid Prime 2's. Not quite. It's close, but I don't think it quite reaches. The areas overall don't quite reach the peaks. I don't think I missed the beams. I don't like how they stack. I do think that the being able to pick your beam is cool and fun and works in 3D Metroid. I think beam stacking works fine in 2D Metroid. But only because, you know, that's how it's always been. I think if Metroid 1 you could pick your beam, I wouldn't feel that way. I'd be like, man, I missed that. And so when in Metroid Prime 3 you can't pick your beam like you could in Metroid Prime 1, I'm like, man, I missed that. I missed not being able to pick your beam. Maybe that's immature, but that's just the honest to God truth of it. I don't think the final boss is that interesting. I wish it was. It's weird to me that it's not just Metroid Prime. Why is it the corrupted Aurora unit? I don't like that. I wish you just fought Dark Samus. Or am I misremembering? Do you fight Dark Samus? I know that she's in control of the Aurora unit. But why is the Aurora unit the final boss? I don't know. It never sat with me well. You know? I didn't talk at all about the final boss of Metroid Prime 2, Emperor Ring. And I'm not going to. I talked about it long enough. I really did. But yeah, Phase is amazing. It's so cool. The hyper mode power-ups you get are really fun. The hyper ball is cool. I really think so. Just try using it on an enemy. It's fun. It seems kind of weird and useless, but it's fun. The hyper grapple's bad. I don't know. I like hyper mode a lot though. The charge beam in hyper mode is so fun to use. I like how you can like with the auto vent feature, I like how you can like gain it to get as much phase on as possible. I think it's cool. There's like tech to it to get more phase out of it. I think they should probably inject 2 energy tanks though. I don't know. Metroid Prime 3 is good. It doesn't leave you alone. You can't really turn off the hints. I think if it doesn't they don't shut up. I think U-Mos from Prime 2 is perfect. No, honestly, I think that might be one thing about Metroid Prime 2 that I'm like, I wish U-Mos wasn't there. I wish he was like the other Luminoth, who are dead and are talking to you through holograms. I wish he were the same. I don't like that he's alive. I think I prefer the atmosphere of Metroid when there's no one alive with you. If you were the only one on that planet except for the aim, it'd be fucking scary as shit. But here I go, talking about Prime 2 here. Although that was more negative. Man, a negative thought about Prime 2. Never thought I'd see it. But yeah, the Aurora unit kind of talks your ear off. The fuel cells, though, what are they called? Are they called fuel cells? I don't remember what the things you pick up throughout the game, so that you use on the Valhalla to get the code. Those are good. Those are fun. Those are better than the artifact time. Those are really cool. I like how you have to shove them in with the motion controls. The ship is fun. It's cool. You see Metroids there, little baby Metroids. I like the ship. It's pretty cool. All in all, Metroid Prime 3 is a great game. I put it in this. It's a great game. I like them. I like the motion controls. I like the pointer controls. I do think, by the way, I didn't mention this. I think it's kind of hard to say whether or not I prefer the original releases or the trilogy versions of Prime 2 and 1, or 1 and 2. I might lean trilogy just because... No, you know what? I'm going to say original because I don't really like the tokens. I think that kind of... I don't care. I don't give 2 shits about them. And I don't think they add... Like, they don't add enough to warrant, like, the break in immersion they give. I'm just like, oh cool, I got a token for beating fucking... What's his name? I got a fucking medallion for beating the Jump Guardian, you know, like, thank God, but... I don't know. What do you buy, like a soundtrack with it? Concept art? I don't think it's worth it. I never liked those tokens that much, especially the ones that you have to use the friend vouchers to get. That's dumb. There's just something you'll never get now because we connect 24s offline. Whatever. Prime 3's good. Alright, now we got Other M. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck Other M. AM2R. Okay. AM2R is fucking sick as shit. Alright. The fact that one man made that over that many years for nothing in return. I didn't pay a cent to get that game. I downloaded it for free the day it came out. And Lord have mercy, it's the best 2D Metroid game that wasn't Super Metroid. It's unbelievable. It's so fun. So fun. The logbook that they added, it looks beautiful. The fucking little touches like the morph ball button. The morph ball button is so smart. I can't play another Metroid game. Every time I play Metroid 2, or AM2R I mean, and then go and play another 2D Metroid game, I'm like, fuck this. Double tapping down. I feel like an idiot. I feel like a fucking caveman. Beating my fucking sticks on the walls, dude. Drawing dumb shit like buffalo on the walls. What the fuck, dude? Wearing a fucking cheetah print. Why am I not fucking hitting the shift key to morph right now? What am I doing hitting down twice? That's fucking bullshit. It's one of those, you know? It's that kind of thing where you can't go back to the older games because it's like, why the fuck isn't this in here anymore? Like the quick turn in Resident Evil. How the fuck do you play Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2? I can't do it. Except I can. I love Resident Evil 2, the original version. But I wish there were a quick turn. I don't know, man. It's amazing. It's an amazing success. A wild success. And I'm glad that Dr. M64, which I think that's his username. That's a great username. I think he's gotten a job in the industry somewhere, hasn't he? I'm not sure. I think he has. He got a job. Oh, he was working on Ori and the Blind Forest, isn't he? I don't know. But anyway, he's a great guy. I follow him on Twitter. He's really cool. And he made a great fan game. Great fan game. I do think the soundtrack's just okay. The additional bosses they added, they're pretty cool, but I never really was that into them. The jetpack bird, that's kind of alright. I don't know about that. But yeah, I love AM2R. I hate to kind of not give it its dues. I'm not talking about it enough. But I feel like I'm kind of dragging here. I need to end this. So I will put Samus Returns in the B category. I wasn't let down by Samus Returns. It was amazing to see another Metroid game after all the time that had gone without like a real one. I do think Samus Returns though wasn't the best, and I think it got outclassed by AM2R. It's not its fault, you know. I don't know. It's okay. I never was the biggest fan of 2.5D graphics. I don't like the soundtrack that much. Like, why is Red Brinstar in that game? But it is. I know that Torvus Black Lower is Red Brinstar as well, but whatever, fuck you. Anyway. It's just okay. I don't like the parry mechanic, and I don't think Metroid lends itself well to stopping and waiting and paying attention to enemies. They're more cannon fodder. Small obstacles to keep the treks from power up to power up more interesting. But they should never be like engaging fights. At least I don't think so. That slows it down, makes it boring, and there's no depth to it. It's all about timing. So I don't think it's that fun. I never liked the combat. I miss just being able to aim diagonally. I don't think 360 aiming was necessary. I never felt that there was an enemy I couldn't reach just by hitting LRR and aiming diagonally or just straight up. There never was an enemy I couldn't quite hit. So now you have to stop moving to shoot diagonally. That just sucks. It's good. but it's not great, and I don't remember it that well. I remember A and 2 are much, much stronger, and I've replayed A and 2 a few times. I still haven't touched Samus Return again after the first playthrough. I will say I do like the scan pulse thing, because that's the first and only Metroid game I ever got every power-up in without a guide. I will say I've gotten every power-up in Metroid Prime 2, in Metroid Prime 3, in AM2R, Metroid Prime 1, in Fusion, and I think Zero Mission, and Samus Returns, and none of them I did without a guide at some point or another, except for Samus Returns. And I think Metroid Prime 3 had that satellite shit that showed you where they all were. I think I also actually didn't use a guide for that one either. Or maybe I did, but whatever. Anyway, I think that closes the door on my Metroid tier list. I love Metroid. I really, strongly, sincerely do. And most of all, I love Metroid Prime 2 and Super Metroid. I think those two games are among the best the industry has to offer. And while I don't think there are as many heavy hitters, I don't think as a whole the series is quite as good as Zelda. I think the peak of Metroid just might be that much better. Well, obviously, I think Metroid Prime 2 is the best game ever made. So I think the peak of Metroid is better than the peak of Zelda. But that's just me. I wish Metroid were where Zelda is. I wish Metroid were the one getting spin-offs with fucking Necromancer or whatever the fuck. I wish Metroid were the launch game that blew everyone's mind for the Switch. I'm unbelievably excited for Metroid Prime 4. I can't wait. I can't fucking wait for Metroid Prime 4. That's probably the game on the horizon I'm most excited for. The wait's lengthened, but I'm down to wait. I'm just excited to actually finally play it. An HD Metroid Prime. Oh. Doesn't get better than that. I can't wait, man. I can't fucking wait. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.